Have you ever looked up at a full moon and felt a wildness inside? For centuries, humanity has spun tales about this feeling. We imagined a creature that is both human and beast, the werewolf. The werewolf is more than a monster, it's a question about ourselves. What happens when the animal within us breaks free? This myth has survived for centuries, changing its shape just like the creature it describes. The werewolf taps into something fundamental, our struggle between civilization and primal instinct. It's a mirror reflecting our own inner conflict. To understand the werewolf, we must journey through history, exploring ancient shapeshifter myths, medieval fears, and even science. We'll see how different cultures imagined these transformations. In medieval Europe, the werewolf became a symbol of evil and a warning against sin. The legend explained violence, illness, and the darkness in the human heart. But is the werewolf just a story? Science offers intriguing possibilities. We'll look at real medical conditions and rare psychiatric disorders that might have inspired these legends. The line between myth and reality is sometimes blurry. In that blurry space, we find the enduring power of the werewolf. It's a legend that continues to evolve, challenging us to face the beast within. The idea of humans turning into animals is ancient, older than civilization itself. In Greece, King Lycaon was cursed by Zeus and transformed into a wolf, giving us the word lycanthropy. These stories warned against defying the gods and showed how thin the line is between human and beast. Norse berserkers wore animal skins and fought with wild, supernatural rage, channeling the spirit of the wolf or bear. In these cultures, transformation was a source of strength, not a curse. In the Americas, indigenous stories tell of skinwalkers, medicine people who could become animals, often for spiritual power or darker purposes. These myths explained the unexplainable and explored the boundaries of human identity. To become an animal was to imagine possessing its strength, cunning, or ferocity. These early stories laid the foundation for the werewolf legend. They show our ancestors' deep connection to the animal world. Animals were not just prey, they were beings with power and spirit. The idea of transformation let people explore what it meant to be human. These myths are the first whispers of the wildness inside us all. They echo through time, shaping the werewolf we know today. The beast within is a story as old as humanity itself. In medieval Europe, the werewolf became a creature of pure horror. No longer a symbol of spiritual power, it was now seen as a servant of the devil. The transformation was a curse, a pact with dark forces. The church taught that the world was a battleground between God and Satan, and the werewolf fit perfectly into this worldview. Tales of werewolves warned people to stay righteous and avoid the dangers of the wild. The werewolf became a boogeyman, enforcing social and religious rules. Fear led to real consequences. Werewolf trials swept Europe, with accused people tortured and executed. The infamous case of Peter Stump in 1589 Germany spread terror across the continent. These trials show how superstition can turn myth into deadly reality. The medieval werewolf represented the loss of humanity and surrender to savage instincts. Stories focused on gruesome attacks and insatiable hunger for human flesh. This was a far cry from the noble wolf warriors of legend. The werewolf became a symbol for the chaos and darkness haunting medieval life. It gave a face to nameless fears, plague, famine, war. The myth was a way to explain the unexplainable. In the darkness, the shadow of the wolf grew ever larger. As science replaced superstition, people searched for real explanations behind the werewolf myth. One theory points to hypertrichosis, a rare disorder causing excessive hair growth, making someone appear wolf-like. In isolated villages, a person with this condition could easily become the subject of terrifying stories. Another condition, porphyria, causes severe sensitivity to sunlight, disfigurement, and sometimes hair growth. Sufferers might only go out at night, fueling tales of nocturnal monsters. These medical conditions don't explain shape-shifting, but they offer a glimpse into how legends start. Behind the horror, there's often a story of misunderstood suffering. People with rare diseases became outcasts, feared, and shunned. The werewolf myth reminds us how fear of the unknown can turn difference into monstrosity. Science reveals the human side of the legend. Sometimes the real monster is ignorance. The myth is a reflection of how we treat those who are different. The line between fact and folklore is thinner than we think. Beyond physical explanations, there's a rare psychiatric condition, clinical lycanthropy. Here, a person truly believes they are transforming into an animal, most often a wolf. It's not a physical change, but a powerful delusion. Sufferers may crawl, howl, or act like wolves, convinced of their transformation. This condition is often linked to deeper mental health issues. In the past, such behavior would be seen as proof of a demonic pact, not a medical disorder. Some accused werewolves may have been suffering from this misunderstood illness. Their delusions became confessions, leading to tragic consequences. The werewolf myth is not just a story we tell, it's a story our minds can sometimes create. The wolf represents wildness and loss of control. For some, the fantasy of becoming a beast is a way to express inner turmoil. The myth is a powerful archetype emerging from the depths of the human mind. Sometimes the beast within is all too real. As societies modernized, the werewolf leapt from folklore into literature. In novels like Clemens Hausmann's The Werewolf, the creature became complex, capable of love, betrayal, and inner conflict. The literary werewolf was no longer just a monster, but a character with motivations and conscience. Writers explored the dual nature of humanity, as in Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, a man battling his monstrous alter ego. The transformation became a metaphor for addiction, rage, or uncontrollable impulses. The process was described in vivid, painful detail, highlighting the tragedy of the werewolf's curse. The werewolf became a victim, not a villain, cursed, bitten, or born with this affliction. Readers sympathized with the struggle to control the beast within. Modern fantasy reinvented the werewolf. In Harry Potter, Remus Lupin is a kind, tragic figure. In other stories, werewolves form proud, tribal communities. No longer just isolated monsters, they became symbols of identity and belonging. The literary werewolf explores prejudice, community, and the eternal struggle between civilization and wildness. The creature's evolution reflects our changing ideas about ourselves. The werewolf is a metaphor for the parts of us we fear and the power of transformation. Through literature, the beast within became a symbol of our deepest conflicts. The story endures because it speaks to who we are. The werewolf is us, caught between two worlds. When the werewolf hit the movie screen, it became a true icon. The Wolfman, 1941, defined the rules, bitten by another, transformed by the full moon, vulnerable to silver. Lon Chaney Jr.'s tragic character made the werewolf a monster you could pity. The horror was not just violence, but the suffering of a good man losing control. Later films like An American Werewolf in London revolutionized the transformation scene, showing it as a painful, terrifying ordeal. The focus on body horror made the myth feel real and frightening. Modern films reimagined werewolves as ancient warriors, tribal protectors, or outsiders. They became symbols of raw power, community, and the struggle to belong. The werewolf stands in contrast to the cold, aristocratic vampire. On screen, the werewolf adapts to reflect our changing fears and desires. The cinematic werewolf is versatile, sometimes tragic, sometimes terrifying, always compelling. The legend continues to evolve with every new generation. The beast within is always ready for its close-up. Why does the werewolf fascinate us? Because it's about us. The myth is a dark mirror reflecting our struggle between reason and instinct. The transformation represents a loss of control, terrifying yet strangely appealing. In a world obsessed with self-control, the werewolf offers a fantasy of letting go. It's about surrendering to raw power, free from rules and consequences. The werewolf also forces us to confront our relationship with nature. It reminds us we are still animals, no matter how civilized we become. Denying our wild side can make it burst forth in destructive ways. The myth urges us to acknowledge and integrate the beast within. The werewolf is a symbol of change, identity, and the hidden parts of ourselves. It explores the fear of what we might become under the right or wrong circumstances. The story endures because it's about the eternal struggle to know and accept ourselves. From ancient Greece to Hollywood, the werewolf has always been with us. It's changed shape, cursed king, demonic servant, tragic victim, proud warrior, but the core remains. The werewolf is the beast inside the human heart. Its shadow still falls across our culture in books, films, and games. Each generation reinvents the myth to fit its own fears and hopes. Werewolves explore themes of alienation, rage, and transformation. The creature is a flexible symbol for our modern anxieties. As long as we struggle with our inner conflicts, the werewolf will endure. The myth asks, where is the line between human and animal? What happens when we lose control? It lets us explore darkness safely, through the thrill of a story. The werewolf is more than a monster, it's a deep exploration of who we are. The myth will last as long as humanity does. Because the story of the werewolf is the story of ourselves, and the beast within.